Okay, welcome to the second video for MYOB for the ISYS 110 subject. Today we're going to show you how to create a new file in MYOB and run through the wizard. We'll also show you how to create an employee card file. Okay. We'll then show you how to modify some of the transaction accounts that were created during the initial setup of the file. We may also then set up an opening balance for some of those accounts that were set up, combine some accounts if we believe those accounts are unsuccessful, and then set up a reoccurring expense. I think that should be enough for the moment. This video may be split into two depending on how long it takes. Okay, so let's begin. What you'll need to do is, instead of going into the open option, like we have for the previous videos, we'll have to go into the create option. So let's go on now and click on create new company file. It's welcoming us to the wizard, so just click next. Okay, we don't need to put in a serial number, but it is important to put in company, ABN address, and so on. So I'm just going to put in an ABN. I'm just going to put in a company name of ABC Company and an ABN of all nines. We'll put in the address of 40 Edward Street, and let's say that's in North Sydney. And we'll put in a phone number as well. Click next. Okay, so the accounting year, now more often than not, this is probably what is default is going to be fine. So just make sure the current financial year is correct. The last month of the financial year, I would imagine, would be June for almost everyone. And the conversion month, let's just say it's July. Okay, and the number of accounting periods are 12 for us. Click next. Confirm everything is right. In this case, nothing's changed, so just click next. This is an important section, so what we're going to do here is choose the top option. So because we're not familiar with MYOB and accounting in this particular unit, we're going to make MYOB create all the lists. Okay, if there's any changes we want to make or any modifications, we can do that off the initial list created by MYOB. So choose the top one, click next. Now this relates to the previous question, so we want to choose the industry and the type of business. If we get this incorrect, the accounts that are created will probably not be as useful as they could be. So let's pretend we're a retail shop and that we're a florist. Okay, it'll bring up a list of all the accounts that get created based on our selections. Just have a quick look, make sure that looks fine. I don't think there's really any issue here, as long as the cost of sales accounts, you can see here, relate to flowers and pots and so on, and so do the income accounts, I should be happy. Click next. For the exam, this is extremely important. We want to actually move where the company file is created. Now here you'll see that it automatically creates it on the C drive. If you do not change this for the exam, this will cause a problem. So click change, okay, and let's just save it, either on your home directory or my documents or even on your USB. I'm just going to name this file ABC Company and we'll save it in here. Click next, and this will now go ahead and create the file. Once we've done that, we want to go into the command center. Okay, so choose this second option, and this will open up the screen that we're all familiar with. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and create a card file. Okay, and this is basically an entity. So we could create a supplier entity, a customer entity, or an employee entity, and just so that you do know, if we don't have these card files we can't create transactions. Okay, so if we want to do any sales to customers, we need to have a customer card file created first for that particular customer. So we're just going to keep it simple at first. We're going to create an employee. So click on cards list, click on new down the bottom here, and make sure the type is employee. We'll make it an individual, okay, and we'll call the last name Smith, first name Sally. We'll just make the card ID as Smith. We'll just make up an address here. And well, why not? We'll put in a phone number as well. We may want to identify the customer with some other, also the employee with some additional identifiers. We're not going to cover that in this chapter. We'll do that in the next one. Payroll, you can put in date of birth, gender, all that sort of stuff. Again, not so important. Just be aware that they're there. If you get asked, we'll get asked to do that in the exam. Just take a deep breath and try and remember. If you don't, just go through all the tabs till you find the information you're after. Payment details, we'll probably change it to electronic. Okay, and we could put in bank details here if we wanted to. We won't do that. So as long as all the basic information is right, we click OK. Okay, well let's just change it. We show to cash so we don't get that error. Let's go back, click OK, and we've now got a card in there with this card ID, this phone number, and this employee type. Perfect. So now later on during this video, if we want to make it, or when we do pay some wages, we can now do that against that card file. So what we're going to want to do now is we want to go and make sure that all our accounts that were set up during the initial wizard are correct, and probably more, we can maybe modify them to be slightly more accurate and more useful for our business. So if we want to do that, we go into the Accounts tab, click on Accounts Lists, and this will bring up the list for all the accounts that were created. Now, I'm not going to go and change very much, but just note here that there is, under the Current Assets and Cash on Hand headings, there is an account here called a check account, okay, and it's a bank type. We're just going to modify that, okay, to make it more meaningful for us. So let's click Edit. We're going to keep it as a detailed account. We're going to keep it as a bank account. We're going to keep the account number the same. We're just going to change the account name. Let's call this Commonwealth Bank Savings account, okay. And we won't put in an opening balance just yet. We'll leave this. We'll do that at another part. Okay, or another section of MYOB. We can put in details about the account, we can put in the bank details. So let's just, put in something random, and we'll put in the account name. Okay. Okay. And the trading name, let's say it's exactly the same, ABC Company. So once we're happy with that, the banking details are right. If we put in a description if it's needed, and the account name is fine, click OK. You'll now notice that the account list has changed. Again, we could do exactly the same things. If we wanted down here, we could scroll down and see if there's anything right or wrong. But we're happy with this. If we wanted to create a new one, it would be just a matter of clicking New and choosing the type of account it was. I won't show you how to do that in this time. Just follow through the book. It's pretty self-explanatory. Click OK. All right, so now what we're going to do, now that we've modified an existing account, okay, we're probably going to want to maybe combine some accounts, or maybe we might realize there's two accounts here that are very similar, and we really only need one. So an example here would be maybe office equipment and store equipment. We may not have an office, we only have a store. So we may think it's unnecessary to have this account. So what we're going to do is combine office and store equipment together, okay? So you'll notice down here there's a button called Combine Accounts. So highlight the account we want to keep. In this case, it's store equipment. Click on Combine Accounts. That becomes the primary account. Now all we have to do is find the secondary account, which was office supplies. There it is there. Click use, and this gets assigned to the secondary account. So basically what happens is the secondary account is deleted, and all the transactions that were performed under this account will not be deleted. They'll in fact be moved to the primary account. Okay, as long as we're happy with that, click combine. It's just giving us a warning that the account will be deleted. We're happy with that, click OK. And you'll now notice that the office equipment at cost account doesn't exist. Okay, so now we're completely happy with all the accounts in our accounts list. What we're going to do is go in and set up some opening balances. Okay, so let's close this. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up here into the setup option, and we're going to highlight balances, okay, and then we're going to go to account opening balances. So as you can imagine, since this file is only new, or this business is only new as well, the MYOB doesn't know how much money we've got or how much money we've assigned to a particular account, so we have to tell it. So, you know, for example, we might have $25,000 in our Commonwealth savings account, so we're going to put that in there. We may have also, for example, assigned some money to a store equipment, so we might have actually spent $10,000 on store equipment. And we may have bought some inventory. So I'm just trying to find where the inventory account is, if there is one. There it is right there. So let's pretend we've also bought $15,000 worth of inventory, such as pots, plants, and all that sort of stuff. So, in fact, where before MYOB thought we had no money, or allocated no money, we've now gone in and said, well, actually, no, that's not right. We've actually got or 50 grand worth of assets, so $25,000 worth of money, $15,000 in stock or inventory, and $10,000 to set up the store. That could be desks, cash registers, and so on. Now, what we need to do, we actually need to go down into the equity section, okay, and we need to make sure we balance this equation. So, as you may or may not be aware, if we've basically allocated $50,000 to assets within this new business, that money had to come from somewhere, correct? So it didn't just come out of thin air, it actually came from the owners. So we need to basically apply the exact same amount that we've put into assets into an equity account. So we're going to put in $50,000 into our owner's equity account, okay, or share capital. Basically telling it, well, the $50,000 we've got of equipment, store, and cash in the account actually came from the owners' own money. You'll notice now down here that the amount allocated excuse me, is now 0. That's good. So click OK. If we go back into the accounts list, you should see now we've actually got some money, $50,000 worth of assets, of which 25 is assigned to savings account, 15 to inventory, and 10 to some store equipment. So that's exactly what we did. So now that we've got some money, we can actually go in and pay some bills, pay some expenses, and in this case we're going to pay some wages against that employee account that we set up earlier.